Good evening, everyone. It's Friday evening, and I've entitled this video G.O.B.N. G.O.B. You know what G.O.B.N stands for? Good Old Boy Network. Are you a member of the Good Old Boy Network? I went to McDonald's today, and I was sitting there with Rosette and my son, and across from us was a whole group of the Good Old Boy Network. You can find him in almost every town, in cafes throughout the United States. Good Old Boy Network. It's usually older gentlemen that are retired. They don't have anything to do, so they meet for breakfast or lunch, and they reminisce about their lives, and they talk about everything, all the ills of society. They talk about the government. They talk about back in the good old days, and they talk about how bad things have gotten, and they're a part of the Good Old Boy Network. You rarely hear them ever mention anything about spiritual things. It's all about, they're talking about Trump and Biden and FEMA and the border and Russia and China, and you know, the war in Ukrainian war, and it's just the G.O.B.N. You know, I don't know why they don't get some G.O.B.N. little nameplates and put on. Well, why you say, well, why are you bringing this up? Well, I'm sure there's a lot of G.O.G.Ns too. You know what the G.O.G.Ns? Good old girl networks. I'm sure women like to meet and talk about the same kind of stuff, right? Well, do you think there's going to be good old boy networks in heaven and good old girl networks in heaven? I think that the central focus of what I can ascertain is going to happen in heaven is we're going to be worshiping the Lamb. We're going to be singing glory and honor and wisdom and power be unto the one who laid his life down for his people. There's nothing wrong with having fellowship with people, but the thing that has always amazed me is what they have fellowship about. They talk about everything other than. You never mention anything about Christ, or you never hear anything about the Bible. And most of the time, you know, if you turn on YouTube, everybody's talking about everything other than spiritual things. They're not interested in spiritual things. They're not interested in anything about the completed work of Christ on the cross, or the fact that Jesus Christ came in the world to save sinners, or they certainly don't want to hear anything about predestination or election. They certainly don't want to hear anything about that God works all things after the counsel of his own will. They certainly don't want to hear anything about the fact that he's going to pour out his wrath and judgment upon the wicked. They want to hear about how God loves everybody. You know. Well, people are in a comfort zone, aren't they? They're in their comfort zone. They just want to be comfortable. They don't want to be they don't want to hear anything that might cause them to get a little upset. They want their ears tickled. They want to hear smooth things. Where are you going on a cruise this year? Where did you catch that big catfish? Have you been to Beaver Lake lately? Have you been to the Bluegrass Band in Branson, Missouri? And on it goes. They act as if they're going to live forever. They used to have this saying when I was growing up: you only go around once in life. You got to grab for all the gusto you can. Well, this life is going to be at its end before you know it. You know, I heard an interesting thing the other day. A guy was saying, you know, what you want to do is you want to figure up about how much time you have left to live. So I'll just do that. I'm 69, so let's say I live to be a long life of 89 years old. That means I have 20 years left. 20 years times 365 days is 7,300 days left I'd have on this earth. Tomorrow it'll be 7,329 days, right? See what I'm saying? So you take someone like Jimmy Carter. He's 98 years old. Let's say he lives another 6 months. Okay, so 6 months is 365 days divided by 2. That means Jimmy Carter only has 182 days left. And he may not even have that long because he's in hospice right now. He's definitely on the caboose of his life, I would say. You know, all of you people in the Good Old Boy Network, you need to wake up and realize your life is coming down to the end. You need to start thinking about eternal things instead of just what's going on this earth. You know, all of us are going to live forever. We're either going to be with Christ, or we're going to be in eternal damnation. And no, we can't choose where we're going to spend eternity. God did that. But if we're one of His, shouldn't we be giving Him all the glory? Shouldn't we be giving Him all the glory? Should we be thinking only about, you know, where we're going to be going golfing tomorrow, or where we're going to go out and go hunting or fly fishing or whatever it is? Never ceases to amaze me what people put their priorities on, you know. So anyway, that's about all I had on my mind. This is the Pineville Grace Fellowship, PGF. You know, PGF, not PGA, not the professional golf tournament. PGA or PGF, Pineville Grace Fellowship. And I'm counting my days, counting my days down to get my final destination when I'm no longer on the face of this earth. May the good Lord be with you this Friday evening, and I hope you have a blessed evening, and I hope that you are not just only thinking about the G.O.B.N. God bless.